Hi, got some magnets here. I got this fancy magnetic wand. You can kind of see there's like a darker shade here. Definitely a kind of a magnet. This is super cool. Magnets are made mostly out of iron, nickel, or cobalt. And if you take it from the earth, it looks like this. Remember when we were talking about things don't really look like they came from the earth anymore? So like this wand doesn't look like it comes from the earth, but this rock certainly does. And it is literally magnetic. It is super attracted to magnets. Look at my rock can just hold on to my magnetic wand. Isn't that awesome? Super cool. So this rock is called magnetite. Say it with me. Magnetite. And it's one of our terms today over here in our notebook on page 41. Notice page 41 is highlighted. That means we're starting a new unit. And it's on magnets, which are kind of fun to play with. You might be familiar with them because they were on your refrigerator, or growing up you kind of played with them here and there. They stick to stuff, right? So our learning target today is I can classify materials as magnetic or non-magnetic. Our important term is magnet. Say it with me. Magnet. It's any material that attracts to iron. Our next one is magnetite. I just showed you some of that, right? It's this piece of rock, right? Magnetite, say it with me. Magnetite. It's another name for lodestone. It's a magnetic rock. And some say it was discovered a long time ago when a shepherd was walking with his sheep, and a nail that was in his sandal, like to hold it together, stuck to the rock. And it was lodestone. It was this kind of rock, kind of magnetic. And it was like, I don't know, they just decided to call it magnetite. All right, this is our third term today, magnetic force. Say it with me, magnetic force. It's the attractive or repulsive force between magnets. Now, some magnets attract and some repel. I have something really super cool to show you. These are actually magnets that look like discs, right? And their North Pole and South Pole is on the flat sides, and so they actually can either attract or repel. Let me pull this off here and show you how cool this is. So if I put a magnet like this on my post, I can put another magnet on and it floats. It does not want to go because it's repelling. If I turn it over, it attracts. Isn't that interesting? So if you have a North Pole and a North Pole, they repel. South Pole and a South Pole, it repels. It's kind of cool. This is neat. I kind of hang this out in my classroom because it looks really neat. So it depends on how I put these together, right, as to whether they attract or whether they repel. And we're going to learn about that in the next couple of lessons about North and South Poles and how magnets attract and repel each other. That's pretty neat, right? Okay. Today, I'm going to have you walk around the house. I want you to find some objects. Now, please make sure that these are small objects that you're testing with a magnet. You can find any magnet you want. You can use a refrigerator magnet. You can use a bar magnet. Sometimes these come in science kits and they're not very strong. I would advise you to use a refrigerator magnet, like find one that's on a refrigerator that might look like this, or like my magnet men that are kind of on the back behind me. But I want you to find 8 objects. I want you to predict whether or not they are magnetic. And I want you to either put yes or no in this blank so that you can determine whether or not some objects are magnetic. I do want you to test some things that are not necessarily metal. Get a little creative. Here's what do not test. Do not touch your computer screen, iPad. Don't touch credit cards with them, and do not touch any electronics with your magnets, okay? You could do serious damage that costs a lot of money to repair. Do not test those things. All right, our next page today that I'd like you to look at is page 42. And page 42 says, I understand the Earth is like a giant magnet. So we're going to look into something called a magnetic field. Say it with me, magnetic field. It's the region around a magnet. Okay, you can't really see it, but it's there. We're going to test for it in our next lesson. This next term is magnetic pole. Say it with me, magnetic pole. It's the regions in a magnet where the magnetic force is the strongest. It's usually called a north pole or a south pole. You'll see in the videos and in the reading. This is called compass. You might be familiar with it. The word is compass. Say it with me. Compass. This is an instrument that aligns itself along the magnetic fields of the Earth, so you can find north and south and east and west, okay? After you get done watching the videos and reading some information, I want you to be able to explain how Earth's magnetic field protects Earth from the sun and describe how people and animals use Earth's magnetic field to navigate and draw a diagram of Earth as a magnet. So there's a lot to do here today in your notebook on page 42. So keep testing, be curious, learn about some magnets. Today you have nothing to submit except for a picture of your notebook, page 42. Please submit a picture of your notebook, page 42, using the Google Doc. Have fun doing your investigations. Make sure that you complete this table about materials that are magnetic or not magnetic. All right, do your thing.